Hello, my name is Matthew Deutsch, and I'm a professional business plan writer. Today I'm going to be talking about developing a business plan specific for a self-storage facility. Over the past 20 years, I've written numerous plans for these types of businesses. They're absolutely fantastic from a financial standpoint. You're able to generate highly recurring streams of revenue from ongoing usage of the storage facilities. There are numerous ancillary revenue streams such as RV and boat storage, car storage. There are a number of ways that these businesses can be monetized in a number of highly lucrative methods. From a business planning perspective, the way I always write my plans, I always do a 9-chapter, 5-appendix format. The first chapter always being the executive summary. Here I always have the executive summary sort of serve as a roadmap for the rest of the business, discussing sort of just giving an overview of each additional section. That way anyone that's reading it can get a very quick sense of what you're looking to do. And usually I limit this to about 2 pages. From there, the next chapter is the financing section. Here I discuss if you're looking to raise capital through an SBA loan or a conventional business loan or a mortgage. I break down the entire usage of funds, who owns the business, and exit strategies, which for a self-storage facility is pretty straightforward, given that these types of businesses are always in demand among entrepreneurs that are looking for a stable cash source. And certainly with a self-storage facility, it's not an overly labor-intensive business. They're pretty straightforward to run. So you're always able to find someone to buy these in the future. The third chapter of every plan that I write, including for a self-storage facility, is specific for operations. Here I always would, if it's available, always include a site plan of how the layout of the facility, how many units are going to be available, whether or not they're climate controlled, as well as discussing things such as long-term RV and boat and car storage if is needed as well. Chapter 4 is what I call the overview of the organization. And this is usually just a 1-page chapter that just sort of gives the pedigree of the business, the type of corporate structure, when it was incorporated, when revenue generating operations will commence, things like the mission and vision statement, as well as some just objectives for the business as a whole. Typically, again, I keep this just 1 page. From there, next chapter, chapter 5, is the market and industry analysis. I break this down into 4 sections. The first section is a discussion regarding the economy in general. This discusses things such as current inflation, whether or not the economy is in recession, GDP growth, unemployment, all sort of the pertinent statistics related to the economy and how that may have an impact on a self-storage facility. Typically, these businesses are very stable. Many people in businesses have things that they just need to have stored on a long-term basis, and they just don't have the space in their home. This is also, especially for boat owners or RV owners, many homeowners associations do not allow boats and recreational vehicles to be stored at home or in people's driveways. So this is sort of a necessity. So in the aggregate, these businesses tend to do well at all times. Right under that is the industry analysis. Here I focus on how many self-storage facilities are in operation, trends within the industry, aggregate industry revenues, and the anticipated compounded annual growth rate over a 5-year period. Under that is the demographic analysis. This discusses mostly just the target market, number of households, number of people, median household income, median home value, which is a good estimation of wealth in the area, and the population size. And this way you can get a sense as to whether or not this is going to be a viable area to establish this type of business. Right, the final section of the analysis involves a competitive overview. This is other self-storage facilities that are in your area, how they differentiate themselves within the market, and how you'll be able to effectively compete with any type of business that's already in operation. Chapter 6 is the basis for growth. This discusses ways that you can increase the business through increased marketing efforts, relationships with realtors that can provide referrals for people moving to and from the area, expanding the property if that's available, if there's adjacent parcels of land that you can develop so that both locations are close to each other. Things of that nature are discussed in that section. Chapter 7 is the marketing plan. Here again, discussing the number of ways a self-storage facility markets their operations through a website, through social media, relationships with realtors, homeowner association referrals, RV repair and dealer referrals as well. All of this is very thoroughly discussed in this section of the plan. Chapter 8 is the organizational summary and personnel plan. This involves who's working at the facility, their pay, whether it's per hour or salary. For self-storage facility, usually pretty straightforward unless it's a massive facility, doesn't require too much in regards to payroll, but certainly there is some expense there. The final section is always the financial plan. And of all the business, and if you've seen any of my other videos, I always say the same thing. This is the most important section of the plan. Here, for any plan that I always write, I always do a 5-year profit and loss statement, common size income statement, cash flow analysis, balance sheet, and break-even analysis, as well as business ratios. The business ratios are always important, especially because the vast majority of self-storage facilities acquire some form of debt capital. Very rarely is it paid for completely with equity from the owner or from investors, but that does happen from time to time. More often than not, I usually see the standard mix of 20% down and 80% borrowed to acquire these facilities, which always is, that's again sort of the standard for these types of businesses. In regards to the profit and loss statement, I always segment this out by the different types of units, which is done on a separate page just so it's not all clumped together. But number of units, the pricing per unit, if you're doing RV space rentals, if you're doing boat space rentals, that's all segmented individually. Then from there, the operating expenses such as the property tax, utilities, security, technology costs, those are all included in the operating expenses along with payroll. Depreciation is also a major factor in this because they are commercial facilities. You are able to gain that huge benefit of being able to depreciate the property over a very substantial period of time, which clearly adds back to your cash flow, which again segments into the next statement, which is the cash flow analysis, which showcases any repayment of principal, any distribution of profit, the cash balance of the business on a yearly basis, which is then followed by the balance sheet, which is the assets, liabilities, and equity, which using book value, assets typically stays pretty stable unless you're making major improvements to the property. Liabilities always go down over time, especially as the repayment of any mortgage or business loan that was used to develop the business. Break even, very straightforward. At what point do we generate enough revenue where we're not making any money, but we're also not losing any money either? Business ratios, again, very important because all of those metrics that are used by lenders are thoroughly in that section of the plan. In regards to the additional sections, which are the appendices, the first one is always the SWOT analysis, which overviews the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The one after that is the risk analysis, which is done from a development, financing, marketing, valuation, exit, and management standpoint. And then the final three, one is just the citations where I got market information. And then the final two are monthly and quarterly profit and loss and cash flow statements, which pretty much every financial institution wants to see. If you're uncertain as to how this all should look, write in the comment box. There is a link that will take you directly to a sample self-storage facility business plan that I wrote, which again is just a sample. All of the work I do is done under a confidentiality agreement, so I never release any prior work that's done by a client. And if you take a look at other samples on the page, the same holds true. Everything you see here is just a fictitious business, and this is primarily just to show the look and feel of our work. We also do pitch decks as well. In closing, I hope this was informative. If you're struggling to, write your own business plan specific for a self-storage facility, again, we are a professional business plan writing and pitch deck development firm. So if you do need help, certainly feel free to reach out at any time. All consultations are free. Even if you start working on something on your own and you're struggling, we can help you pick up from where you kind of got stuck and then complete the plan for you as well. That's something we do as well. Thank you again for taking a look. If you have any questions, again, feel free to reach us anytime, and take care. Bye.